bit. In fact, the acrophase, that peak, tends to be a bit more rounded as opposed to peaked, which means that the drop in cortisol in the early afternoon and evening is actually more gradual. It's flattening. And a flattening of the cortisol curve has been shown in other studies to actually predict lower lifespan, certainly in response to health challenges like cancer. And here's the good news. Practices which adjust stress down in the afternoon in those people combating cancer actually predicted survivability. In other words, the bigger the peak, the more rapid the decline in cortisol into the afternoon and the lower it stayed at night, the longer people lived and the more successful people were in overcoming diseases such as cancer. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing that allowed them to do that, but it makes perfect sense based on everything we know about the interactions between cortisol and the immune system, between stress and survivability, between longevity and between the production of all sorts of things that relate to glucose metabolism, dopamine, et cetera, and so on. Another interesting point is that as women transition from perimenopause to menopause, so of course this is correlated with aging, but the exact age that it occurs differs between women, but it's roughly between the ages of late 30s to early 50s, depending on the person. There's also a characteristic flattening out of the cortisol rhythm into the afternoon. That's the way it's described in the literature across all these different situations, menopause, aging, when people are combating a chronic illness and so forth, is this flattening of the afternoon cortisol curve. What this speaks to, again...
That was just the beginning. You can listen to the full episode on Flick Flack Podcasts, link in bio. Before you forget, what are you waiting for? Go download it now.